Welcome back for another chapter in A Drop of Mercy. Today we're looking at chapter 14. Heinrich stretched across the small loom to grab the piece of warp yarn his father had threaded through the last heddle. I got it. He tied the yarn along with the 3 remaining strands with an overhand knot and removed the lease sticks. Time to thread the reed. It's nice to have you working beside me again, Dottie said. Heinrich met his father's eyes. It's nice to be here. I had no idea how fast you wove until you were gone. And there I was thinking I could produce at least 2/3 our normal volume on my own. I got less than half of that done. Thought I was shirking, did you? You are still growing. That's the vigor of youth. I can grow and work at the same time. Older men, on the other hand. Dottie chuckled. You think I'm old? 38 is a lot of autumns, Heinrich said. Not as many leaves on the tree as there used to be. He patted his hair in demonstration. Dottie ran his hand gently through his own thinning hair. Just remember, son, wisdom runs warm. He left Heinrich to finish attaching the warp to the front beam of his loom while he walked over to his larger loom and settled to weaving the fabric already started there. As Heinrich struck the row of newly tied threads with a long stick to check the tension, Klaus ran through from the back of the house. Just the man I wanted to see, Dottie said. I want you to run a pile of linen down to Jensen's. Klaus frowned. I just came in for the bluing powder. I'm helping Mom with the laundry. I'll take it, Heinrich offered. I wouldn't mind seeing Will again. When Dottie looked hesitant, Heinrich added, I won't be long. Besides, remember the vigor of youth? Dottie raised an eyebrow but smiled. Go ahead. The sun will be up late tonight. We can finish after supper. Willingly. Heinrich spotted Will on the ladder against the sidewall as soon as he entered Jensen's store. There you are, you rascal. Will turned around. Heinrich, I heard you were back in town. I was hoping to get down to see you. Heinrich held out the stack of linen he had brought. Dottie says you're expecting these. Set them on the counter and come out on the stoop. The 2 boys sat across from each other on the front benches. How did you make out over the winter? Heinrich asked. Not too bad, really. The soldiers rode through same as before, stopped to pillage now and again, but there wasn't much left to be had. Not outdoors, anyway. And they didn't come too much into the buildings. The abandoned homes took most of the damage. We had more trouble with the folks in town. Some of them would call you a spy just for giving a crust to a poor beggar. Was it like that up in Salford? The militia were rough. Had the blacksmith scared out of his breeches. Oh? They wanted him to make rifles. Threatened to shut him down if he didn't. Will shook his head. Good thing they haven't found a way to kill men with linen, eh? Heinrich nodded. And grateful I am for it. Say, what would you think about me joining the church? Officially? Yes. They're coming down hard on church members. I'm no coward. Cowardly and foolish are cousins. You think it'll be a bad idea? I'm just saying you should make sure you've thought it through. It's all I've been doing. Then I think you should do what the inner light tells you to do. I knew you'd say that. Ask a Quaker, get a Quaker answer. The garden was a picture of health, and a hardy layer of flax covered the field beyond like a thick green coverlet. Heinrich leaned on his windowsill and gazed at the comfortably familiar sight. The fences had all been repaired, and the countryside seemed to have forgotten that soldiers had ever lived or died there. He thought for a while about Nat. Then he turned back to join the family on the front balcony where they were spending a quiet Lord's Day afternoon together. It had been a meeting house week, and Heinrich had been pleased to re-meet all the people he had nearly forgotten about over the winter. How could a person forget those he cared for so deeply? It must just be the way of things. He had not been sitting long when John Kaiser came running up the street from the south. That was not unusual behavior for a boy on the Lord's Day. Dottie called down, What is it, John? What has you running so? Soldiers at Christopher Sowers, and they got a wagon, a big one. Has he been arrested? I don't know. They just came with a big wagon, and they went in when he opened the door. I have to get my Dottie. John took off as quickly as he had arrived. Mom looked worried. Do you suppose they're going to arrest him again? I hope not. Dottie looked at Heinrich. Come, son. Klaus stood. May I come too? Dottie looked as though he were about to say no. Then he caught Mom nodding gently and said, We will all go this time. I'll see you next week.